But I think that these guys are going to try and show an entertaining fight. The UFC wouldn't just throw this fight in here if it wasn't going to be a good one for such a big-ass card. So the fact that this is on a pay-per-view, I'm guaranteeing you this fight is probably going to be one of the most entertaining fights of the entire fight night. Woo! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. If this is your first time joining in on the show, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. But we have UFC 286, just 2 or 3 days coming up, and I do think it's going to be an interesting fight when it comes down to it, but we still have two or 3 days before that, which is why we do these videos. Let's get into these fucking predictions. Starting out with Marvin Vettori versus Roman D. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I already know I'm just going to fucking butcher it. Either way, we've got ranked 4 with Marvin Vettori versus rank number 9 with Roman D. So I really do think this is going to be a big fight for Roman himself. After this fight, he could be a number 1 contender. Now, obviously, Marvin Vettori's last fight against Robert Whittaker didn't go so well for him. You know, he took that L very fucking fast. I do think that he could have shown a lot more in that fight, but it is what it is. On the other side, though, Roman D is coming off a win. I do think a guy coming off a win versus a guy coming off a loss is just going to be entertaining in general. You know, I think this guy's got a lot of confidence with Roman D, and I think Marvin Vettori wants to show himself and say, hey, I'm still at the top of this division. In Roman D's last fight, we were actually watching it live on the watch party, and we were watching Roman D. I thought Roman D was going to lose, and he came out and fucking surprised me. That is what I love to see in a fighter. And when Roman D did that, I said, all right, that's perfectly fine. I'm a big fan of you now. Believe it or not, that is the same thing that happened with Kumaru Usman versus Tyrone Woodley for me. I wasn't a big fan of Usman just because I didn't know much about him. I was a big fan of Woodley because I obviously knew his last fucking title defenses and was just a genuine fan of Woodley. Usman fucking wins. 3 years later, I'm riding Usman's dick all fucking day. And now it's the same thing with Leon Edwards. I was a big fan of Usman. Leon Edwards comes with the biggest fucking comeback we've ever fucking seen. And bada bing, bada boom, I'm a big Leon Edwards fan. So, you know, it's just how the ball fucking rolls. And I really do think that Roman D could be an up-and-comer in this division. I'm not saying he's going to be a fucking Khabib or an Islam, but I do think that he could be a contender at the top 5 at least. And if you couldn't tell who my prediction and who I was putting my money on, it's Roman D all fucking day. Moving on to Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. I think this is going to be a really good women's fight. We have a ranked number 12 going up against the ranked number 8. We've got a Brazilian versus an Australian. I think it's just going to be a good old clash in general. Now, I don't know much about these two ladies in general, but I have seen some clips and some views, and I do think that they have some potential here to be a number 1, maybe not number 1 contender, but to get to that top 5 position, I do think that this is a fight for both of them that they really need to win. Not only just to stay in the rankings, but if you want to show that you're at that top 5 level, you have to be able to show that you're not only capable of fighting those tougher people, but that you're still staying on top of your game. Not only is this a proving fight for Casey O'Neill, but it's also a proving fight for Jennifer Maia and showing that she's still at that top 10 rank. Now, she's only ranked number 8. It's not too far away from 10, but at the same time, it's not too far away from 5 either. 3 versus 2, I think it's right in the fucking middle. So I think that this fight's going to be somewhat big for her. Now, honestly, when I was, kind of choosing my prediction, I was a little bit iffy on who to pick here. I wasn't too sure. I'm a big fan of underdog stories, but at the same time, if someone's from Brazil, I know that they most likely know jiu-jitsu, and I'm always going to probably side with the jiu-jitsu people here. So I'm putting my money on Jennifer Maia all fucking day. Moving on, we've got Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberena. Either way, I think Brian B is fucking styling and profiling like the Ric Flair fucking way. So give him a good old woo! Kumaru, saying one guy's styling and profiling while the other guy's name is Gunnar Nelson. Like, if you're just judging a book by its cover, both of these two are fucking savages just by that. Like, one dude's got a savage name, the other dude's got a savage haircut. Like, come on. But that's just me, you know, hyping up the fight a little bit before I even really get into why it's actually a good fight. Now, at first glance, this fight doesn't seem like the most entertaining fight. Neither of these guys are ranked. You know, they don't have that many wins compared to losses. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, they have a lot of wins. They have over 10, 15 wins, but, you know, they have a little bit of losses on their record. It's not just 1, 2, 3. It's more like 5, 6, 7. I really do think that at first glance, it doesn't look that entertaining to a regular person who doesn't really keep up with the UFC. But for those of you who forgot, Gunnar Nelson's been in the fucking UFC since 2012. And Brian B, the fact that I can't pronounce his last name is pissing me off, but has been in the UFC since 2014. They're almost going on 9+ years. Gunnar Nelson, a decade plus of fighting in just the UFC. So not only are these two guys fucking absolute savages, but they've been around for a long fucking time. So not only do they deserve some respect just for sticking around and being that guy to show up, but I really do think that this is going to be maybe who's going to take the contract and who's not going to have a contract anymore, which I don't think the UFC would do to these two. I think the UFC probably has good relationships with these guys. I do think that, you know, whoever wins this fight, you know, is going to probably be favored or more favored in, you know, who's going to get paid more, who's going to have a fight that's, you know, more likely to have them win, if you want to say that. But I really do think that a lot of people look at this fight and don't see it that entertaining. But I really do think we're going to get a fucking bang out here. I think these guys are going to put it all on the line. Maybe not all on the line like a title shot, but I think that these guys are going to try and show an entertaining fight. The UFC wouldn't just throw this fight in here if it wasn't going to be a good one for such a big ass card. So the fact that this is on a pay-per-view, I'm guaranteeing you this fight is probably going to be one of the most entertaining fights of the entire fight night. You can fucking mark my words come Saturday night and comment at me whatever the fuck you want, because I guarantee you these guys are going to get a fucking performance bonus of some sort. Now, when it comes to money and who I'm betting on, I really am not too sure. Not only do I like Brian B's haircut, but Gunnar Nelson's name just makes you want to pick him. But I'm just because I don't know these guys super well, and I'm going to try and be somewhat unbiased, I'm just going to go with the American represent. I'm going to go with Brian B here. Obviously not going to go off too much stats or anything, but I think Brian B is going to take this one home back to America. Moving on to your co-main event of the evening. We've got Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. I've definitely been pronouncing it right in my opinion. I'm just going to keep on saying Fiziev. It's going to be probably the second to third most entertaining fight. I think Gunnar Nelson versus Brian B is probably going to be top 3 most entertaining. Then this one's right up there with that. As to which one's going to be number 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to fucking predict that. But this one is going to be up there. And the main reason I think it's going to be up there, especially for people that don't really like grappling, you've got on one side Rafael Fiziev, who's more of a Muay Thai specialist. His style really comes from Muay Thai. That's where he started. And on the other side, you have Justin Gaethje, who's an NCAA wrestler, but doesn't fucking like to wrestle. There's a quote he had in 2020, I can wrestle and everything, I just don't want to because it costs too much energy. In my opinion, and we've all seen Justin Gaethje's fights. Like, come on, if you haven't seen one of those fights, go and watch it. It's fucking entertaining. It's always a bang out every single time. So I think that you're going to get a grade A banger here. Now, Rafael Fiziev, I think, is up and coming, not only for the fact that he has 7 wins in the UFC, but he's 12-1. He hasn't really lost much, and I think that this fight could be that loss. That's kind of already showing what my prediction is, but I really do think that Justin Gaethje has a lot of experience. Just some of Justin Gaethje's last fights were just so high level and against really skilled people like Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Khabib, Tony Ferguson, like the list can go on and on. I believe he even fought Dustin Poirier back in 2018. I believe him and Dustin Poirier fought, and maybe Dustin Poirier wasn't on the same level that he is today, but I still do think he was way better than when he fought Conor for the first time. In my opinion, I think Justin Gaethje just has a lot more experience than Rafael Fiziev, and I think Rafael Fiziev has been, on such a fast track. He hasn't had much time to really get back, step back, and really look at his game and see where the holes are, because everybody has holes in their game. Just look at that Islam Makhachev fight. Now, I was talking about it with Roman D and Marvin Vettori, how Marvin Vettori is coming off a loss, Roman D is coming off a win. In this case, Rafael Fiziev is coming off a win, and Justin Gaethje is coming off a loss against Charles Oliveira. Now, I'm not going to say that Justin Gaethje's a pussy and he's, going to be down in the dumps all the time. He's going to be depressed and whatnot. I definitely think Justin Gaethje is the type of guy to just take something on his shoulder and keep on moving forward. So if he has that mentality for this fight, I guarantee you he's coming out with that win. He does not want to be out of the top 5. Now, talking about Kumaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, I'm not going to be giving you guys a prediction quite yet. That's going to be coming Friday, so be tuning in this Friday when that video comes out. Either way, I do think this is obviously going to be in that top 3 of fights in this card. You've got Kumaru Usman winning the first one, Leon Edwards winning the second one in one of the most exciting comebacks in a round 5 that you could ever fucking have. So it just builds it up, in my opinion, even more, especially when Kumaru Usman was winning so much in that second fight. So in my opinion, this is a must watch. This is a must see. For anybody that watched that second fight, they are 110% watching this third fight. Now, for those of you that don't want to spend that $80, come in over to that watch party at 4 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. You don't got to be there at 4. You can come in at 5, 6, 7. Usually it's probably going to end around 8 or 9 because it is in the UK, so we have to start a little bit earlier. But usually they last around 3 to 4 hours, so feel free to come by, say something in the chat. Let me know, though, guys, in these comments who you guys think is going to win, Leon Edwards or Kumaru Usman. Let me know who you guys think is going to win in the whole card. Let me fucking know. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And with that, have a great fucking day.